Okay, so this would be a feedback slash critique for Lara? Oh, H2. Ah, I get it. So I guess you've seen the videos before. Oh, we're in some discourse together. Oh, that's crazy. But you know the drill. I'm just a nerd who likes Tekken, and just I just enjoy the game, right? I'm just a nerd who likes Tekken. I am by no means a professional at this game, and what I say is really just from a perspective of, hey man, based on my experiences fighting Jin, watching Jin, etc., 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 here are ways that I think you could be doing a bit better, right? And yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, it's just food for thought. It is by no means gospel. Huh. Okay. So, the biggest thing, hmm, I guess I'm gonna recommend a lot of tools that just from my experiences or just watching Jin, I'm just kind of like, seems like you should be using this more. But if there arises a situation where the tool I'm using or the tool I'm describing doesn't actually fit as well as I would think it does, then by all means replace it with like a better tool, right? Like if I'm recommending forward four a lot, which I probably will because I think that move's really strong, but instead you're like, well, forward four there would actually get me killed and I should use something else, then by all means go for it, right? At the end of the day, I'm just going to provide suggestions. But yeah. So, uh okay. Yeah, you got the combo. So right off the bat, right? You're in an infinite stage and you do what I assume is the regular Jin ender, right? And I know like Jin's not exactly like an Oki monster, right? He's not a Ling, he's not a king. Who else has monstrous Oki? Marduk, right? But I feel like we all kind of just make sacrifices for infinite combos or infinite stage combos. If you watch the MFUB versus Big Boss match, Big Boss was doing this crazy like electric ender into some pretty fucked up Oki, right? Eddy, MFUB was constantly face up, head towards the opponent. And if anybody remembers Paul back one too from season one, that was the similar Oki situation, and it's like the most fucked up Oki situation people can be in. And I definitely think you just like what wall damage are you going to get, right? So what wall carry are you going to? I think sacrificing a bit of damage for a much more stronger Oki situation is heavily in your favor, right? So experiment with that a little bit, right? Don't just go for like this crazy wall under, like it. So if you were let's what's a like Kazuya when he knocks down with his hell sweep, right? They're basically left in the perfect range for another hell sweep, down back four, forward four, back four, blah blah blah, all that shit, right? But when you're left, like, look at how much space you have to close in on the eddy before you can apply any sort of pressure or oki, right? So I think experimenting with your ender to what's something that leaves you a bit more closer, or what's something that leaves you a bit more closer, or just the electric thing that Big Boss does, because the oki just seems way too good in your favor, right? But that's just the main thing with combos. I don't really know any Jimbo combos, but yeah. Okay, so you do this punish. Okay, you are +2, which isn't a lot. And then you do. His magic force is 13 frames? That's fucking crazy. What? Weird. Let's see how often it shows up. Nice, you got the float. Hmm. Okay, so the two areas that I'm kind of curious on is that like when he goes into relax, you challenge with down forward 1-2 for some reason, and I'm not sure why. You also do that thing of you do a lot of back. What is that Jin move? Back 2-2. It's like his wall under thing I see sometimes. Back to. I can't even tell. Down back 2-2. I need a GIF. What is the fuck is the GIF? Savage Sword. No, that's definitely not it. Okay. But you do the one where he does like the chop into the uppercut, right? Like you did a lot whenever he does relax, and then here you do like down forward 1-2. If he's in relax, just do down 4, right? Like it's always gonna hit. He can't. He's not gonna low parry you from relax, right? I don't know. It just feels like a weird decision at that point to just kind of be like, I'm gonna hit him out of whatever he does. On block, it was on block, right? Weird. I'm trying to figure out the situation I want to describe in, but it's that similar thing of okay, right here, right? What exactly was this? And I think you do it again later, right? Your opponent's on the ground. What are you hoping to hit him out of there, right? Now, if this was an execute, oh no, I can just look at these inputs. Oh, thank you, Lord. Anyway, um, you can. What are you hoping to hit your opponent out of? That I don't know. It just seems like the applications on Oki were a bit weird, right? If your opponent stay on the ground, just hit down 4 and call it a day, right? Or down 2 for the stronger damage. Um, Down 2 is a bit more risky in case you're too slow and they wake up and block it, I guess. But I think just doing down 4 is fine, right? Now, of course, this is going to be really sad if down 4 doesn't hit grounded, but I'm not 90% sure it does. I want to say it does, right? And then, if your opponent rolls away, then you chase after them and then do forward, forward, 4 or something, right? Yeah, Jin doesn't have a lot of like crazy plus frame situations as much anymore, huh? I don't know. It is what it is. Uh, okay. Okay. So like right here, right? I'm I just from the matches I've watched, this Eddy just does not block low, right? He's always going to be stand blocking, and when you have to sort of really challenge your opponent in these sort of situations, this is a bit of matchup knowledge, right? Of knowing, okay, the opponent's safe, but they can't, you know, you can't punish them, but they've ended their turn in most situations, right? Obviously, matchup knowledge. Some characters are built around just stealing turns a lot. Like Lydia just has a lot of strings that seems like, oh, she ended her turn, and not really. So the thing to consider here, right, is we know for a fact that Eddy's turn is ended. So in the future, when you run to these situations, challenge with a throw or challenge with a low, right? He's -7, right? He can't. Even Eddy himself with his crazy backdash, he cannot backdash anything. He cannot sidestep anything for certain because his sidestep's trash, right? He has to take your next mix-up. He either has to block it or duck it, right? So doing a throw, you know, is Jin's got a full complete throw game, right? So start utilizing that for some chip damage and mental advantage, right? A lot of Jin is you have to, in my opinion, a lot of Jin is you have to use every tool at your disposal to just keep putting on pressure on your opponent, right? He's not someone who he's like Fang. He's not a Mishima in the sense that, you can really rely on the core 50-50 mix up, right? He has to use a wide variety of tools to elicit responses from the opponent and then base his game plan around that, right? He's like Fang. He's got a lot of really cool tools, and you have to utilize a lot of them in order to be more effective, right? You can't just be Kazuya and just spam 50-50s, right? You can't just be Devil Jin and have all these overpowered tools, right? And you cannot be Heihachi with a jab that reaches from halfway across the screen, right? So you have to utilize a lot of different tools, and I think that includes the throw game. Can throws be are throws less effective at higher level, right? Can people see the shit? Yeah, of course, who cares? But the idea is that you have to make them on the lookout for it, right? For all the weaknesses throws get, a well-timed throw is still very effective at making your opponent go, fuck, I should have like tech that, or they should have been more aware of that. And in situations where your opponent cannot backdash or sidestep, they're perfect, right? They have to take that mix up. Either that or doing like a low, right? Because even in situations where you gotta punish, for some reason this Eddy still keeps pressing. If the name looks familiar, have I faced him before? He still loves to press buttons afterwards, right? So even situations like a +2 or a +3 from like down back 4 become huge because you just press 4, and it's very likely that the Eddy's gonna be pressing into it, right? So long-winded way of me saying, once you're more familiar with these punish situations, and I feel like a lot of the matches that you're struggling with is just you don't really know the frame situations that Eddy leaves himself in, so you just kind of go autopilot on some moves, and it's not bad, but you need to be taking more advantage of it, right? So let's say you run into this Eddy or any other Eddy again, and you run into this same situation where he does this kick move thing, right? Where he does this kick move. And you either have to remember two things. You either look up the frame data and just be like, okay, Eddy is -7 there. Remember that. Or you just remember, okay, I don't know what the fuck Eddy is, but I know he's safe because I cannot punish this. And instead go for a mix-up opportunity. Tekken's fucking weird, right? There's just like a lot of situations where it's like, oh, the opponent's safe, but they can move around. But for the most part, you can tell when an opponent is plus, right? Like you can tell when the opponent has an advantage based on blocking animations and just how kind of like how it feels, in my opinion. And so that's something to also consider, is in the future just experiment, like, okay, does it feel like I'm plus, or does it feel like he's minus, or whatever, and then challenge accordingly, right? TLDR, even if you can't get a punish, you have an opportunity in front of you, and you should be utilizing that, right? If he's just standing there, throw him. If he just refuses to block low, get in that chip damage with the low, and then go for a frame trap. But yeah. just doing whatever this is not working out, and this kind of happens a lot, right? So immediately, okay, so what button is that? Back 1 2, back 2 1. Okay, so this is just a really long punisher, right? Why is back 2-1? So okay. This is another thing of like, what do you gain by pressing this, right? So if you backdash and you see him backdashing away, what are you hoping to like keep him out with by pressing back 2-1, right? And even if you press it, what crazy advantage are you gonna gain? Because he's most likely just gonna block it because he's been stand blocking a lot of your things, and so now you've just left yourself at -9 in front of this Eddy. How bad is back 2 just by itself? Ooh, it's punishable. Okay, that's different. I feel like there are just better tools here that you could be using to here. Like at this point, at this stage, I would just forward 4, right? Just forward 4. It press it. If it works, awesome. If it doesn't, you just accept the reset to neutral. But there's a lot of like these moves, like you'll press down forward one, you'll press back to one, or something like that, and then it's just kind of like, why? What are you hoping to achieve there, right? Think about it in those situations. What is the best thing you could be doing to maximize your advantage, right? Should you be going for a wave dash mix up? Should you be backdashing to create space or dash blocking to elicit a response from the Eddy? And just experimenting with that a bit more. Okay, so like, what led to this? Is he even that minus? No, he's only minus 12. Yeah, so okay, so that's another thing of like, yeah, this to me, in my opinion, it just seems like, oh, you're not familiar with like the matchup and the punishment stuff. There's not really much to add here, right? I'm not gonna spend that much time pointing out every single punish opportunity. That Eddy matchup knowledge, you just gotta brush up on, being like, okay, what can I really punish? What can I not? Okay, so we did the same thing again, and really, the jams beat you. You're plus. Oh no, you're plus two. Okay, yeah. So, hmm. Hmm. Why the hesitation in applying the Oki? Why not just go for the Hell Sweep mix-up, right? Because he's just backdashing away. He's not immediately throwing out a button on his wake up. On his wake up, he seems to be very passive. I think at the start, you just go for the wave dash mix up. You just go for the hell sweep, see what they do, see how they react, and then based on that, do like a adjust your game plan accordingly. Okay, so he does the annoying thing. I guess you went for the whiff punish with that? It's tough. It's tough. That move is really weird, right? Why is there a plane? Anyway, that move is really weird. I don't think forward 4-2 was a bad call, but I think you just focus on forward 4, right? I feel like you just keep pestering him with that move. And okay, so this is going to be this weird balancing act. In my opinion, right? You obviously don't want to overextend with forward 4 too much, because Eddy has that pretty good whiff punisher where he does like a backflip and it's a launcher, right? And that shit's pretty annoying. But you need to be pestering this Eddy in order to elicit a response from him. Because look at it this way, right? Another thing is that you also don't have to chase down, right? So he does. Well, you were going for a whiff punish, so I can understand that to some degree. Well, let's see. Let's see how this plays out. Okay, wait. So. Okay, so 90% of the time, right? It's like if Eddy does something into relax and you block it, you should be able to freely challenge it. What move does he do? So he does a 15 frame move. And he was -2, meaning anything 16 frames or faster would beat him. I don't know what crazy. Yeah, so I guess at that point it would just be down forward 1 from Jin, but his down forward 1 looks really stubby. He can't do forward 4. Okay, so anytime, I think in my opinion, anytime you block the relaxed transition against Eddy, you immediately just do back to 1 as soon as you can, right? And that'll just hit him out of whatever he's gonna do, because on block all of his transitions leave him minus, right? He has to, he doesn't have anything it's gonna beat back to 1 as far as I'm aware of, right? Now, on the off chance that he might have something like, I don't know, because back to 1 clearly hits Eddy out of relax. Yeah, all I was really gonna say is back to one instantly. If you're uncertain or if you're just not sure if whatever move you're gonna do is gonna hit, down four will hit Eddy out of relax, right? And yeah, you're not leaving yourself that much advantage, but relax is Eddy's mix-up stance, right? It's fucking weird, and it's the evasive mix-up stance, and I think just not dealing with it by knocking him out of it as much as you can. It's like, do you want to fight Ling on the as they're standing, or do you want to fight Ling 24/7 while she's in AOP, right? Or if do you want to fight Lei while he's in playdead? You don't. You just knock them out of that stance as soon as possible. And if they're so set on trying to get back into that mix-up stance as much as possible, you just keep punishing them, right? Rip rodeo. Nice. Rip. Okay, so this for like right here, I'm just confused as to why you're even approaching in the first place, right? Why are you even bothering with whatever you're doing? You have the life lead, right? It's an infinite stage. You have good, not you seem, you do have a good backdash, right? You have the life lead. Just run away. Who cares, right? Eddy, if you have to chase down an Eddy, you're gonna be in a world of hurt, right? But if the Eddy has to chase you down, he's usually very limited in his options, right? Especially if you can get the read on when he does for his like sliding kick or whatever, that it's pretty plus on hit, right? You have the life lead. It's Eddy. Why would you bother chasing him down? Just run away, right? And now look, like, just the weird call out move you did kind of just snowballed into all your advantage just going away, right? That's unfortunate. You okay, so let's nice. Damn, Can's hits relax, that's crazy. Okay, so I don't know. I know Jin's got finicky combos. I don't know how finicky like that particular ender is, but again, just try to experiment more with like how can you maximize Oki, right? In an infinite stage, it's just all about the Oki. Sacrificing 4 to 6 points of damage. I don't know what the damage difference is. If you have to sacrifice like 10 to 15, okay, maybe don't do that, right? So actually, there's two ways to look at this, right? The first situation is you sacrifice the damage for the Oki, right? Because the Oki is so good, right? If you're able to create a situation where the opponent is face up, head towards you, right? The Oki situation is massively in your favor, right? And that reward in and of itself is worth it for some people. For others, they're thinking, okay, well, this damage just isn't worth it. The damage loss just adds up too often, right? Because instead of killing Eddy in like 3 to 4 combos, it now takes you 5 to 6, right? That is a for sure argument. And in that situation, if that is your preference, that you're like, no, I just really want this max damage, I need to make sure every combo counts, okay, sure. In that situation, just accept the reset to neutral and don't chase the Eddy, right? If the Eddy's off in the distance fucking off doing like all these crazy capoeira moves and just dancing around and shit, who cares, right? He's not hitting you. So you just wait. You just wait it out. You let the Eddy approach you, and you constantly let the Eddy approach you, and you based on their preferences for how they want to approach you, then you adjust it, right? Anytime you try to chase down this Eddy and preemptively do stuff, you just get blown up, right? So it's just stuff to consider. But yeah, just right, like why even bother going for that whiff punish? Like, you see how fast that move whiffs. You almost have to preemptively be there before you can even begin to whiff punish. But why even bother whiff punishing? So what? He's whiffing like 5 different moves at the edge of the screen. Who cares? You have the life lead, right? And outside of relax, Eddy isn't this mix-up monster, right? Yeah, he's got like a rodeo shit or whatever, but he's not. What is rodeo gonna do when he's at range like 4, right? So you're too overeager in trying to chase in and go out for this extra advantage you don't need, right? Just keep pressing forward 4. Just keep the Eddy at bay, and then don't bother with it. Okay, so now we also, another thing to consider is that whenever you get a good back 2-1 punish, right, 4 isn't going to work out anymore. He's going to be jabbing you constantly. And at this point, so in the next time you get that situation, right, this is going to be the layer, right? Your first layer was this Eddy's going to be pressing buttons, so I'm going to be pressing 4 against whatever he likes to do, right? And it worked out, right? You got a counter hit launch, sweet. Now the Eddy's like, well, fuck, I'm just going to press jab strings, right? So now you have to consider, okay, what the hell do I have that is either faster than jab when I'm at +2 or high crushes? And that you're going to have to answer yourself. My only thing in my head comes into mind is down 4, right? Which obviously isn't like a very flashy thing, but I think it gets the job done, right? The whole thing okay, so this comes down to like a player preference thing. But my whole philosophy is the slower the match is, the easier it is for me, right? It's a lot easier to enforce mix-ups, create mix-ups, and do all this stuff against my opponent, right? Because I play Paul, right? He's a very slow character. I want the pace of the match slower, or if it's super fast paced, I need to just keep punishing my opponent. And with Jin, I feel like it's a similar situation. It's like Jin doesn't have a lot of crazy fast moves that can, he's not like rushing you down, right? He's a jack of all trades. He has to use a variety of tools, and he can't just be like rush you down with Harang or Lydia, right? So, even though down 4 isn't super flashy, right? You're not going to get a huge reward for the Eddy mashing jabs at +2, but it'll stop him from doing that, and then Eddy will be like, fuck, and now I can't, well, jabs don't work, I need to either stop pressing, at which point you can then start throwing him, or the Eddy just tries to press slower buttons like a power crush or something, and then you just go back to 4, or do down by 4 against power crushes. But yeah. That move is really fucking scary, right? So that move, this is where I can understand pressing forward 4 is dangerous, but I still think you do it just because I don't know. Unless you do like 6 forward 4s in a row, right? It'll be a lot easier to bait Eddy into doing a move like that, and then when he does something like that, then you can do forward 2, right, for the whiff punish. Okay, so wait, what was there? And that's another thing, right? Is that you remember to analyze your matches and see like, okay, now the Eddy is blocked. He blocked relax, or he did relax. You blocked the transition, and now you're +3, right? So back 2 is going to be, you're going to have a 3-frame head start with back 2, essentially meaning the Eddy has to do something, 12 frames or faster, and from relax, like, what does he have? And that's something to consider, is that reviewing these matches yourself and just kind of analyzing, okay, in all of these commonly seen situations, right, 99% of the time, if I block the transition into relax, right, the Eddy's at minus. So then that's a sign of like time to press my relax button, right? And that's just kind of a common thing that I think I'm 90% sure that this is the common thing of, if you block the transition into relax, you challenge the Eddy. If you get hit, then you gotta respect it, right? Okay, so what? So what? Okay, so what happened here? Were you too late? Because what he pressed was a 15 frame move. You both pressed your 15 frame moves, and you traded, which I don't think should have happened. I think you were just too slow with. Oh, he did a 24 frame move. Wait, what the hell? Is that back to? Yeah, so you did back to one, and it traded. I think you were just too slow on the back to one. Like there's no reasoning why Eddy should be able to do a 24 frame move with, with you having a 3 frame head start and then, trade like that. And even then I think it worked out in your favor because he did that, like he did that slippery kicks bullshit. Okay. Okay. Rip. Yep, that's just the mix up. Wait, so how did he enter relax there? Oh, okay, so then... What? Oh, because you pressed... Did you press back to one? No, you pressed jab or something. Yeah, man, anytime, just... I don't know, it just seems like anytime you would press... Yeah, anytime you block a transition into relax, you press back to one and call it a day. Like right here... Okay, so... So like right here, down 4 would not work because the Eddy was airborne. But back to 1 would float him out of whatever this is. Yeah, and then unfortunate guess on the mix-up. Yeah, I think you had the right idea. It was unfortunate. Like he should have just died there. Like you should have just done wall standing too, right? Okay. You know what? I got time. Let's just continue watching the matches. Let's watch the one that says help and see what happens. Okay. Okay, so now we know. Okay, so down forward 1, even if you did down forward 1 and he was just mashing jabs. I mean, I skipped a match, so maybe maybe this interaction has evolved, right? Yeah, I think it should be, the baseline should be, you get back to 1 as a punish in any situation. You either press 4 or you press down 4. In this instance, against this opponent. Why? Because 4 will hit anything, any button he tries to press, right? Besides like jabs, right? And then it'll trade with anything like 13's frame. I don't think Eddy has any 12 frame crazy moves, right? And then when the Eddy does jabs, you press down 4, right? Pressing down forward 1 is weird, right? Because you're the same speed as your Magic 4. You're still going to lose to jabs, but it's got like a really stubby hitbox. And if the Eddy like tries to step or something, it's just not going to work out. Yeah, it's a mid, but the Eddy has shown to just mainly be challenging you in this instance, right? Yeah, it's just an unfortunate decision. And he gets that really good whiff punish he has. Nice. Oh, so that's another thing. I think like at this range right here, yeah, when you're able to bait out that flip kick or whatever and then immediately do the Demon's Paw, to me that's a sign of like, okay, in the future this is the range you're going to be playing at, right? Just keep dash blocking. This Eddy loves pressing buttons. He's gonna be pressing buttons, and then you whiff punish him, right? Nice. Ah, fuck. That's just an unfortunate drop. Yeah, I don't know if there's like a tip range consistent combo. That's something you gotta ask for yourself. But nice. Nice. Okay, I don't know what that combo was, but whatever. Okay, again, right here. You got the reset. You reset to neutral because of the unfortunate drop. Whatever, right? You don't press any button, right? If the Eddy had a sharper reaction, right, he would have just whiffed you like he did, like he whiff punished the down forward one. In my opinion, in this situation, you have the life lead, just back the fuck away, right? You do not press any button against the Eddy unless he like puts himself in a situation where he's unable to, right? Either he's knocked down on the ground, he threw himself into a relax again for whatever reason, or you're whiff punishing something. I don't think this is a matchup where Jin has the freedom to necessarily, apply his pressure tools, right? Because if you risk a whiff outside of like forward four, because that thing's whiff recovery is still pretty decent, I think, you risk just getting whiff punished really hard, right? So forego this, right? Focus more on maintaining a safe distance and just baiting something out of the Eddy. Because given all your matches history, this dude just loves pressing buttons. Like, you were literally doing nothing and he just threw himself into relax because that's just where he's comfortable, right? And in that situation, it's just kind of like, okay, I literally have to do nothing, and this Eddy, just like every other fucking Tekken Online player, is going to throw himself at me at some point in this match, and I'll get easy punishes, right? So avoid overextending in any situation where you don't have to. See? Exactly. Like, you literally did nothing. You just dash blocked, waited, and then he just did that like instantly, right? So avoid the forward 4, and I know I'm not trying to like shit on you for that. I'm just trying to say, like, think about the start of the match. You whiffed a down forward 1, the Eddy just immediately whiff punished you, right? There's no point, and like right here, right? There's just no point in overextending yourself when you don't have to. Unfortunate. So like right here, it's, oh shit, nice, holy shit, that was hype as fuck. I gotta watch that again. That was hype as fuck. That was hype as fuck. Anyway, I'll let it play out. But yeah, it's just like, okay, so amazing aside, right? So like right here, you get the drop. Good whiff punish, but then I think you were fine. Right, but like continuing to apply pressure when you don't need to, right? This Eddy, you literally did nothing, and he did his weird flip kick thing, right? And just rinse and repeat. You just keep doing that until the opponent shows that they're like, okay, fuck, I can't get away with that anymore. That was sick. Oh, and this happens again. Yeah. Once they start doing the flip kicks, you just gotta learn the matchup. What are their preferences? What are their preferences for when they do like that flippy kicks? And yeah. Anytime. Okay, wait. So what did you press? Back 1. Oh, back 2-1. Anytime you see handspring, you just jab, right? You just jab and float them out of it because it'll float. You need the fastest tool available to you. I don't think, especially it's like, yeah, you just start jabbing him out of handspring. There's a layer to it where he can cancel handspring into relax or do something to like high crush, but First, you force him to utilize that to give yourself some breathing room, and then when he starts using transitions to to preemptively high crush you, you use that time to like create distance for yourself, right? Mm, nice. Unfortunate. Oh, nice. Okay, so again, right? This is a running theme throughout the match. Don't overextend yourself. Why are you approaching, right? In what world are you in any danger, right? If you have the life lead and the Eddy is just dancing away in the far range of the screen, what is he going to do that's going to hurt you? What is your need to keep approaching like that, right? There is none. You don't need to, so don't do it. You just keep dash blocking. If the clock runs out, the clock runs out, and you have to just let him press this button and let him overextend. Because if you get overeager with the buttons, now you're dealing with this. And now the Eddy has the life lead. And he's going to throw it away because he just loves throwing himself at the opponent. But unfortunate. But yeah, it's just kind of like you don't need to overextend, right? Like the Eddy has no reason, right? He could just let you run at him because you have to take the lead, right? But he's still approaching himself. You're facing a very aggressive opponent, and you're creating more work for yourself when you don't have to. Why bother approaching if the opponent's just going to be throwing themselves at you anyway, right? That was a good low parry. Unfortunate. Okay. Let's keep going. I want to watch at least some of the AK matches as well. Excuse me. Unfortunate. So like right, I'll talk about that later in personal opinion stuff. Okay, so when you sidestep, and you see the handstand, you block, right? The weird spin kicks, I'm basically just homing, right? Like he's a fucking Beyblade, right? He's gonna hit on all sides. You gotta block, let him do a move, right? That you block, leaving him at disadvantage, meaning that he can't transition easily, and then you just jab float him or something. Okay, wait, what move is that? What was the point? Right? So what was the point here? Why go for it again? What were you hoping to counter hit him out of, right? When you're up close and personal, he's very conservative, right? He presses a lot of jabs. He doesn't press as many panic moves, right? When you let the Eddy go on offense, that's when he's just like, I'm just gonna throw myself at this opponent and just doesn't matter what the fuck happens. I'm gonna go into relax, right? But when you're approaching the Eddy, he's just very passive. Like he's not gonna counter. You're not gonna get as many counter hits because he's not gonna be pressing as many buttons. We'll keep going, but I'll talk about that in my wrap up. Rip. It's hard. The show's like unreactable. It is what it is. Do I want to watch the AK matches? Oh, this video is already really long. It's also just me rambling. Yeah, let's just. Sorry, this is gonna be really long. Sorry, bear with me. Let's watch the AK matches, and then I'll talk about. I'll just differentiate when we do the usual wrap up. Oh, this is a walled stage, so you get Oki and stuff. Nice. Okay, so when you why is it all blurry? Does this work? Oh, it's still kind of blurry. Maybe it's just the recording. Okay, so when you get okay, so the AK is tech rolling, or kind of. He's side rolling into a wake up. Why not chase him down, right? Like you have. Do you have a strong homie mid? I actually don't know. Well, you have forward 4, right? So that will actually help out because the forward input will track a little bit. Experiment with Oki options. I feel like you gave up the Oki too easily, but oh, it's sick. Oh, I felt like you should just hop kicked, but whatever. That was a really interesting challenge. Oh, nice. Nice. Back 1-2 is punishable, I want to say. Yeah, it's -12, but just keep that in mind. Nice. Oh, he had a good read on the duck. Oh yeah, that's another thing. Oh, this guy's got combos. I should play against Jimbo more often. Rip. Does Jin have a 13 frame crouching punish? I don't think he does, right? Oh, he's got wall standing 1. What the hell is that? Oh yeah, so damn, Jin gets it all. He gets a 14 frame launcher and he gets wall standing 1 too. Okay, so yeah, just a lot of AK's lows are, you can launch forward neutral too, so that's crazy good for you. But, you know, a lot of his stuff is -13. Make sure you, actually, is down 3 -13? Oh, -12, whatever. Yeah, he's 14 damage is pretty good actually. Huh. But stuff like that, like down 4, which is the quick low poke, right? It's generic down 4. That's -13. So definitely have your wall standing 1-2 punish ready. Down 4. Yeah, -13. That's crazy. I'll talk about this more in Oki stuff, but like if the opponent is just staying on the ground, don't go for these heavy if you already backdash, you're already sacrificing your timing, right? Because if you backdash, now you have to catch up in order to get space and then hit the opponent while they're on the ground, giving them ample time to recover and then possibly do something that you'll run into. I'm saying this as someone who's run into a lot of get up kicks, right? Just find out what are your fast ground hitting options, low commitment, right? If the opponent just stays on the ground, excuse me. If the opponent just stays on the ground, you basically get to just press down 4 for free, right? And it's like, why wouldn't you do that, right? Why would you not just get free damage? Yes, it's like 8 points or something, because they're grounded and it scales. But it's like, again, free damage without putting yourself at too much risk. Are there higher reward stuff that you could be doing, like forward 4 or something? Yeah, absolutely. But it's also higher risk, right? Against an opponent who's pretty good at like adjusting, differentiating his timing, right? But down 4 offers very low risk to get free extra chip damage. And your combo damage, especially with walls, is good enough where it's like okay, I can do something, right? I can just get some free chip damage in and create less work for myself. Don't know what's going on with the drops there, but nice. Nice. If okay. Oh, nice tuck. Ah, yeah. Mm. Unfortunate. Okay. Yeah, that's tough. I don't know. Okay, let's watch. Oh, that was the last match? Alright. Let's watch this. What happens here? Good duck, because you're looking after the back 2-1-2. Okay, don't know what happened with that combo. Nice. Whoa. Unfortunate drop. Yeah, wall standing 2 is really scary, huh? Mm, that's tough. It's tough. Okay. Wait, does that launch on normal hit? That's fucking crazy. Huh. Weird. Mm, that was that was pretty ballsy. Nice. Ah, unfortunate. Press 2. Oh, he didn't go for it. Yeah, it's tough. It's like it's hard. Besides, brushing up on punishes. Hmm. All right. I think I'm gonna keep watching these AK matches for sure, and try to get back to you with a follow up on these and what could be done differently. It's tough. AK is just kind of like it's almost like fighting a mirror match, right? You have two jack of all trades characters, and it's like, what do you do besides play better? There's not really any shutting down. Okay, there are ways to quote unquote shut down AK, but they involve some form of risk, right? Where you can just duck him. But we'll talk about that later. Okay. Neutral punishment slash match of knowledge combo slash OK personal opinion stuff. Neutral. In the well, I'll break it down into like matchups because I don't think you played that crazy and neutral in the AK match, which is like fine. The Eddy match, you were way too aggressive when you didn't need to be, right? Anytime that the Eddy was just kind of, I don't know what to do in neutral, I'm just gonna throw myself and put myself in relax, right? Anytime there was a moment of hesitation or sort of a slowdown in the game, the Eddy was always ready to advance and ready to press buttons, right? And you have to, people online are just naturally aggressive because online just feeds this type of behavior where shit that should be normally punishable isn't, shit that should be, you know, people just run into counter hit launchers all the time. And it's like, you have to take advantage of that. You have to take knowledge of that. Slow down your gameplay against opponents who are just ready to throw themselves at you, right? Don't press forward, forward, forward when you don't need to, right? Don't press any sort of advancing pressure tool because you don't need to advance. The opponent's going to do all the work for you, and you just got to wait for your opportunity and just punish properly, right? There's not really much else that you need to be doing there. Other aspects of neutral. Practice challenging. I think you could just be doing more forward four, right? You just keep pressing forward four until you think about it like this. It should be a combination of forward four and dash blocking because you want the advancing movement of dash blocking and forward four to kind of throw off the opponent, right? When you press forward four, you keep pressing forward four, and then the last one you just dash block, and then the opponent is just too antsy and too trigger happy, so they just press they press their keep out tool, and then you can bait something out of them and then punish them, right? So versus the Eddy, I would say just focus a lot more on eliciting whiffs from this Eddy, right? And you're not going to whiff punish everything, even though that would be ideal, but the goal is the Eddy is doing more of the overextending and putting himself more at risk than you are, right? Versus this AK, this is a bit difficult. I think it's that same situation of you keep pressing forward four and you keep pressing forward four until the AK slows down and is just kind of like, okay, I'm gonna slow down and try to be ready for forward four, and then you just dash in and do down four, or dash and do down back four, or something like that, right? And the AK is pretty aggressive in terms of advancing, so I think you want to do a lot of like electrics and stuff. It's tricky because forward four neutral 2 was buffed, so it crushes faster. So there is that risk involved, but I think you just still keep doing. Oh, that's another. I'll talk about that later. That's another thing of like, I don't know. I have to. I'm gonna rewatch these AK matches and then see if I have any of my opinions change. But yeah, punishment slash matchup knowledge versus the Eddy. You just gotta learn the matchup. Start learning those strings. Start learning the frames that the Eddy Eddy puts himself at. You don't need to like learn everything, but you do need to learn what can you really punish and what is safe, right? And if it's safe, how minus does he really leave himself in, right? Do you have the opportunity for a mix up, right? And I'm not gonna harp on like every punish decision, but again, it's like it's free damage you gave up and just being a bit sharper on it. I already talked about it. If you're facing a super aggressive opponent, you have to, play that matchup, right? At that point, you're not worrying about the character. You have to think about, okay, yeah, Eddy isn't someone that I might not have a lot of knowledge of, but I'm facing someone who's super aggressive, so they'll overextend. And then also you're facing like the Eddy was someone who just did not duck, right? He just did not duck, and you need to give him more reasons to duck. Whether that is throws, whether that is lows, is up to you. Other aspects of punishment / match knowledge. That's fine. AK. So AK, you can, outside of the usual, hey, punish this properly, so you don't just lose out on damage. You gotta make the decision of just kind of like you want to force the AK to use a lot more of his mids and his his hop kick and stuff like that. And you need to be sharp on the punishment, right? If the AK does forward 2-1, your reaction should just be duck, right? And it's tough because there's gonna be instances where you duck, they didn't finish forward 2-1, and it's just kind of like a reset to neutral. But that's fine, right? Because when the AK does do forward 2-1 and they duck and you launch it, then you're golden, right? The AK risked like 30-ish damage and you got to launch, right? Because they wanted to wall splat you or whatever reason they wanted to do forward 2-1. You have to just force the AK into stuff. And I don't think you need to just be flash ducking or low pairing, but just duck, right? Because if he goes for his power lows, like forward, neutral 2, you can still launch that, right? So, awesome, right? And if he doesn't, if he goes for like his highs, you gotta launch that. And if he goes for his mids, they're typically like middling reward. Who cares if you eat a back 4, 1+2? Who cares if you eat forward 2, right? You eat like 20 to 30 damage, but if the AK goes for a low or a high, right, he risks like 80 damage or 60 to 70 damage without walls, right? So I think it's still more in your favor to just duck and force the AK to either use mids that end his turn or just less reward. And when he really wants the high reward stuff and he goes for like his throws or his lows, you just duck and then you're golden, right? It's something to consider. I think you just need to be challenging him more. Who cares if he's doing a mid, right? It's not like he's doing, also what's like a crazy power. He's not like he's doing Paul or Law Dragon Hammer, right? Or Hammer of the Gods. It's not like he's doing Jin forward 4. There's just a lot of stuff, right? I think the risk is still in your favor. And more importantly, if he goes for high risk, high reward mids like hop kick, you get a punish. So you're set, right? That's just my 2 cents on it. Combos / Oki. Your combos, just unfortunate drops. I'm not sure if it's the connection or the routes you were choosing, but I would just, brush up on those. Against the Eddy on the infinite stage, experiment with your Oki options. Don't just commit to it. Or if you commit to like, I'm going to go for max damage and reset to neutral, don't put yourself at risk by rushing at the Eddy when you don't need to, right? Versus the AK, your combos were solid. I think you should just experiment more with Oki in terms of, okay, the opponent side rolls into get up. What can I do against that, right? Do you just go for a call out cans? Do you go for a backdash to try and like whiff punish it? Whatever he's doing, right? Stuff like that. Yeah, just there were some weird combo drops here and there. I'm not sure if it's because of the route you chose, but that's just something you got to practice and solidify those routes a bit more. Combo / Oki went over. Personal opinion stuff, options that I think are neat, but your mileage may vary. Against the Eddy, if he's up close and personal with you, start doing your jab strings, right? Like do like 1-2-4. Do what's the Jin string that leaves him at plus 1-2? No, that's not it. Yeah, this thing. Okay, right? So if the Eddy's up close and personal to you, just start doing this shit. What reasons did the Eddy give you to not enforce some of your string mix-ups like 1-2-3 and 1-2-4, right? If he starts challenging 1-2-3, then you get 1-2-4. If he doesn't challenge you, right, you do 1-2-3, and I don't think you'll be left at neutral, right? But that's still like you just accept the neutral, start backdashing, right? And if he tries to press in between or press like a slow move, you get a counter hit knockdown into Oki, into guaranteed damage, blah 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 blah, right? So stuff like that. What else is there? Against the okay, so still on the Eddy, other things to consider is that this Eddy just did not block low, right? So do more down 4, do more down back 4, and or do more throws. Give them reasons to block low. You need to be constantly making your opponent aware of your tools and be like, fuck, I gotta be on the lookout for this. I gotta be on the lookout for this, right? And other reasons to that. And especially it opens up new opportunities because let's say you're unable to get a punish because the Eddy's at -7 to -9. But that's fine because now the Eddy can't backdash your mix-up, so you just throw them and now they're going to be on the lookout, right? So they're going to be ducking more, opening them up to your mids, or they're going to be trying to challenging you, opening them up to your counter hit tools, right? It's that constant ebb and flow of your tools. If you don't give opponents reasons to be susceptible to other tools, those tools aren't going to be effective, right? If you never use down back 4 or never use any throws, they're not going to be scared of them and they're not going to be ducking as often, and that's going to be reducing the effectiveness of your mids, right? So stuff to consider in the Eddy matchup. Just start doing strings, and then when you get the reset to neutral, you just keep dash blocking. Combination of dash blocking and forward 4 to keep mixing up the Eddy and making the Eddy antsy, and then going for a whiff punish when the opportunity comes up. Versus the AK, I think it's mainly just that dash blocking and forward 4 to try and like just I don't know what's going on there, to try and bait something out of him, right? Like what do you gain? Okay, so what was that? Was that down forward 2? Yeah. So what do you gain from just doing random down forward 2 if he's not wave dashing at you, right? Start doing the jab strings, right? And then because there's so many mind games that you can do, right? Okay, so let's say you do 1-2-3, right? And he starts challenging you instantly because he's prepared in the matchup. So then you just start doing 1-2, right? And then mix up with like 1-2 down 4. So that way when the AK does 2-1, you just down 4 crush it, and then you get some nice easy chip damage, right? So a lot of just, you're playing Jin, you got to use a wide variety of tools, and the ebb and flow of I'm utilizing these tools and to buffer up these tools, or I'm stopping it for the extra next layer of the mind game, right? That's just my opinion. You got to be careful with keep out versus the AK because forward 2-1 is a thing, but I still think you know electrics are solid, down 4 should be good, right? It's not like he has a 13 frame punish. Oh, I think you should be abusing down back 4 a lot, right? Jin, down back 4 when you can. Yeah, it's -13, and AK doesn't have like a great 13 frame punish. His wall standing 4 leaves him closer on hit, and it's like fancier now, but it's whatever, right? It's not like Jin wall standing 1-2. It's not like Paul wall standing 3-2. It's not like a crazy 13 frame punish, right? So abuse tools that you just don't get punished as normally, right? Other personal opinion stuff. I think you throw this AK as well, right? In situations where, like, let's say you block AK forward 2-1, right? It's not like the AK can move after it. He's -9, so you throw him, right? And again, Like, okay, so he you know, he plays AK. You can, it is a reasonable assumption to think that, okay, well, if the guy's playing AK, he should be able to break throws. Okay, that's an assumption. That's not proven yet. You need to prove it first that this dude is consistent at breaking throws, right? Because otherwise, if you just block forward 2-1 and then you just accept it as a reset to neutral, you're giving up another opportunity, right? If the opponent is -9 in your face, yes, you cannot punish them. However, it is still an opportunity to take advantage of, right? Oh god, I've rambled for so long. I'm really sorry about that. Yeah, if it's like, if this is crazy unfocused and you would prefer like a redo with a more focused discussion, let me know. But I think the key takeaways are here. Versus the Eddy. Don't stop overextending yourself. Let the Eddy overextend and then just keep punishing him for that and consistently punish him. And then versus both the AK and the Eddy, you have a lot more opportunities at -9 situations, right? Even if you can't punish the opponent, you can still take advantage of that situation, and that's just something to consider, right? Think about these opportunities as you review your own matches, right? Where are opportunities that arise that where even though you couldn't punish, you could still do something, right? And also, when you have an opportunity in front of you, when you could do something, what are tools you can use that you haven't used yet that will make the opponent wary about it, right? When can you start throwing the opponent? When can you start doing down forward and down back forward? So they're going to be on the lookout for those tools, right? A lot of Jin is just going to be, I got to use a shitload of different tools and do all this crazy shit in order to eke out the advantage, right? And I don't know, man, that's just kind of what you signed up for playing Jin. That's, at least that's what it seems like from an outside perspective. If you have any questions, if there's any other things that you could say, like, hey, I actually want your opinion on this, or hey, can you please do like a follow-up that's a bit more focused, let me know. I do enjoy these things. I hope it helps. As long as it helps, I'm happy. All right, take care, man.